So we are starting a new month, the month of February. And as usual, when we start a new month, we want to start our analysis from the monthly time frame. But before we look at the technical analysis, I want us to look at the fundamental analysis because something is happening, especially with the dollar. If you want to learn more from me, you can join the 6 weeks intensive ICT SMC program that starts on 16th February 2026. I'll put a link in the description box. So if you look at news, you realize that Trump has nominated a new Federal Reserve chair called Kevin Wash. And actually, the market responded positively to this, especially for dollars. So now let's look at the technical, and we're going to start with DXY. DXY is the dollar, and we'll start with the monthly time frame. So if you look at the monthly time frame, so this is the month of January, you can see clearly price used this inversion fair value gap to push price lower, and this is what we have. So okay, so far we have this order block created right here. So if this dollar is still going to continue bearish, it would be nice if we actually get a retracement to this monthly order block before we continue going lower. So if we look at the weekly time frame, you can see clearly price took this low here, and remember this is what we were looking at as draw of liquidity last week, and that's exactly what price did. So this is more of a rejection where you sweep the low and we get all this week, and we even closed as a bullish candle. So this coming week, we have this fair value gap here on the weekly time frame. And also you can see there's an order block here. So this is the weekly order block and the monthly order block is here. So it would be nice. Actually, I want to see this market go tag this. The monthly order block and also tag the fair value gap, and also we have the weekly order block. Before now, either we get a bearish move from here, so the dollar is still weak, or you can get actually candle. If you get candle closure above this, then that would signal actually a bullish dollar. So let's look at the daily time frame, and clearly you can see Friday. This is actually reaction, the positive reaction to the news of the new chairman. So here on the daily, we can clearly see we have this daily fair value gap here, and the weekly order block is here, and also the monthly order block is around here. So at this point here, it would be nice if we actually get that deeper retracement, tag the weekly order block before we get that bearish move if this market is bearish. However, if this market is bullish, you will just see the first thing is the market is likely to violate this daily fair value gap. We invert it first before finally the market inverts this weekly fair value gap. Then at that point, the market is bullish. And of course, fundamental is going to play a big role because there's so much right now happening in the US. So I want us to look at the 4 hour because I want to show you guys how I trade continuation. Because if you look at the market, of course, clearly you can see already there's a bullish move that has started. So if you're going to trade continuation to this key level here, this daily key level, then of course you'd want to look at the 4 hour and you want to see the 4 hour key levels. So at this point, you can clearly see on the 4 hour, there's this fair value gap here. There's a bullish fair value gap. So if you're going to continue with this bullish move, and also there's an inversion fair value gap, it would be nice if you see the market open, we get a retracement to tag this key level before we get that bullish move. But of course, the first target is here, and we also have this gap here. This is also nice if the market gets to this point here. At that point, the market will now already be inside the daily fair value gap. But remember, the weekly order block is slightly above somewhere here. So it would be nice if we still get that more retracement to that point. So let's look at USDCHF. If you look at USDCHF, so USDCHF and the dollar are positively correlated. So the dollar, we've been having, of course, that bearish move. You can also see USDCHF. This is what we had. Clearly, you can see the market actually tagged this order block here. You had a tag open from the high, tagging the order block before finally we get that expansion lower and closing at this point here. So let's look at the weekly time frame. On the weekly time frame, you can see there's this order block right here, and also a huge fair value gap here. So again, the same thing as DXY. It would be nice if we get a retracement to this, of course, this fair value gap and also this weekly order block before finally at that point either getting more bearish continuation or we'll just find out the market will invert this and then anticipate likely bullish moves from there, because at that point that would mean the dollar is strong. So let's look at the daily time frame. Same as DXY, you can see on the daily time frame, this is a daily fair value gap right here. So we have that. The weekly order block is right here. So best scenario, we want to see the market tag this daily fair value gap before either we continue going lower or the market is bullish. So let's look at GBPUSD. So GBPUSD and dollar are negatively correlated, and you can see this is what we had. This is the monthly time frame. So far, price has created this order block here, same as DXY. So and also there's this inversion fair value gap here together with a fair value gap. So that is basically a balanced price range. So if you look at the weekly time frame, clearly you can see, can mark all this as a fair value gap. That's all we see. Let's look at the daily time frame. If you look at the daily time frame, actually for GBPUSD, already price has inverted this daily fair value gap here. This can be a nice key level that the market can use to push price lower. So let's look at EURUSD, starting with the monthly time frame. Clearly, you can see it is this order block which the market actually tagged, open, formed the low, formed the high, and finally closed the January candle. You can see this can mark all this as a fair value gap, and an order block is right here. I'm looking at more bearish moves. For price actually to get here, it would be nice if we also get to this low here. So if you look at the daily time frame, you can see it's clear already we're having that bearish move. So we want to see more bearish moves at this point here. So let's look at JPY Basket. And guys, we've been looking at this low. Finally, we can see this is how we closed the monthly. And I like how we got all this rejection here. So in this case for JPY Basket, we've been looking at this. This is a monthly fair value gap here. And also finally, the market has also formed a very tiny fair value gap right here. So clearly, if you look at this market, you can see it's been bearish, lower lows, you get a retracement. Finally, we get all this bearish move. At this point, if this market is still bearish, always, whenever market is at a discount, you want to see a retracement to premium level before the market continues going lower. So in this case, this is one of those situations. If really this market is bearish, it would be nice if we get a retracement to any of these key levels before the market, of course, continues with the bearish move. So if you look at the weekly time frame, so far this is all that we have. Nothing much, really, nothing much. So here on the daily time frame, there's a lot going on here. Currently, you can see price has already tagged this daily fair value gap and also this daily fair value gap. So at this point, if this market is bullish, then we want at this point the market, because the market already tagged this and this. First of all, we don't want the market to violate this. This is our last line of defense. So if it's bullish, we want to see that bullish move. However, if the market is bearish, then definitely you'll see the market will first of all violate this, then violate this, and at that point you expect more bearish moves. So let's look at GBPJPY. So GBPJPY and yen basket are negatively correlated. So if we look at these, of course, clearly you can see on the monthly time frame, here is a fair value gap, and this is what we had the month of January. So I'm watching this. You can see all this has been bullish, 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 even formed a higher high. So if the market is still bullish, always I prefer the market giving us a retracement before you continue with the bullish move if the market is bullish. So if you're going to get a retracement, this is a nice level that the market can get to before we continue with that bullish move. So let's look at the weekly time frame. If you look at the weekly time frame, clearly you can see there's this fair value gap here, which price actually tagged this week, the week that just ended. So because price has already tagged this, and you can see this looks like it has not been violated and even closed bullish, there's still a high probability, there's still a possibility that this market can just continue going higher and use this as support for that bullish move, because clearly you can see GBPJPY has been really bullish, making higher highs, higher highs, higher highs. So that is a possibility. Or you have a situation where the market gives us that retracement to this monthly fair value gap here. So if you look at the daily time frame, clearly you can see, of course, the week opened. We opened here, and this is what we had the rest of the week. There's this gap here, which has been filled by price. Clearly, you can see Friday we had all that. So then there is a possibility if this market is going to give us a retracement to this monthly fair value gap, then this is a nice level that the market can use to push price lower. However, if you're going to see more bullish continuation, then you want to see price actually invert this and you get a candle body closure above this, then that can be used to push price. So let's look at gold. And of course, if you're going to start with the monthly time frame, clearly you can see gold is bullish, 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 leaving behind breakaway gaps. When the market is at all-time highs, this is what you expect to see. So if you look at the weekly time frame, clearly you can see there's this fair value gap here. Also, there's this fair value gap here. So now you can clearly see we had, first of all, the market opened, we had all this bullish move, then finally price dropped. So you can see on Friday actually had all these bearish moves on Friday, reaction to positive dollar. So if the dollar is likely to see more bullish or likely to be strong, then you anticipate there's a high probability that gold might give us more bearish moves. But as of now, this is all we see on the daily time frame. So if you look at the 4-hour time frame, clearly you can see already this 4-hour time frame. Of course, when you're having that bearish move, the market is clearly making lows, lows, lows. So if this market will still continue with this bearish move, then there's a high probability this can be used to push price lower. Or you'll see the market invert this and you'll start seeing a new bullish moves or bullish structure, market respecting bullish order flow. And also, there's a possibility the market can just consolidate for the rest of the week. So let's look at NAS 100. And NAS 100, of course, this is all we have on the monthly time frame. So if you look at the weekly time frame, you can see already price swept this high here, and this is what we have. And if you look keenly, you realize that NAS 100 has been in a range, and that is why you keep seeing the kind of price action that we have. So if you look at the daily time frame, it's even more clear. The range is really clear. So at this point, we are between this high here. So this is the high of the range, and this right here is the low of this range right here. Already price took out this high, this high. So this high has not yet been taken out. So if it's bearish, this is your next level. Then this level here before finally the market getting here, or the market can get to this low, then we have that move, this low, or we get a bullish move. But as of now, if you're going to follow this logic, price has already swept a high. There's an inversion fair value gap right here. So if you're going to follow this logic here or this move here, then the next target would be this low here. So that is all I prepared for this weekly outlook video. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one.